friends! I had originally planned on shooting this Q&A video like a week and a half ago because I temporarily lost my mind and thought I could get way more accomplished in a very short amount of time than is humanly possible, so oops. And then I planned on filming this video yesterday, but I had a bit of an unscheduled emotional breakdown, so oops again. But here I am, and I am ready to answer the questions that you left me ages ago in internet time. But before I do, if you happen to be looking at the shirt and being like, man, I love that shirt, and I would love to have one of those shirts, you can! I'll move my hair and give you a better view, but it says, "Subtle was never my style." And this is from my latest song, He's Not Yours. It was one of my favorite lines in the song, and I was like, it just belongs on a shirt. So the link is in my bio if you want to be twinsies with me. And without further ado, let's get to your questions. I will start on Instagram. iCarly101 says, do you have any April songs ready to tease or release yet? I do. Why not? I don't think I've ever previewed a song on a video before it came out, but in less than 2 weeks now, on April the 20th, I will have a new song coming out called Collateral Damage, so here's a little bit of that. Katukas says, how are you doing? Great! But no, I don't know. I feel like I've been in kind of a weird place because I have been working really hard on new music projects, but I just haven't had a lot of like motivation to do videos like this or like learn any new covers or anything. I don't know what it is, if I'm just having like a weird creative block when it comes to that kind of thing, but I'm super happy with like the new music I have coming up, so I guess it all balances out. I don't know. Mikey the Owl says, what is your favorite thing or line that you wrote that did not make it into a finished song from the vault style? I don't know that I have one because I have lots of little lines and phrases saved in a Word doc for potential future songs. So even if something doesn't make the cut on a particular song, I kind of put it in my back pocket and potentially save it for later. Roma11500 says, hardest part about songwriting. I think I've said this before, that it feels like each song is a puzzle and you've got all the puzzle pieces and you're trying to get them to fit together, and some puzzles are easier than others. So yeah, I think just like the frustrating part, the hardest part, is when it just feels really close but it's not quite there yet and I can't really put my finger on why. But it's always like that much more gratifying when I actually do figure it out. Cool Cat 170 says, what song did you have the most fun writing? My most recent like fun experience with writing is I wrote a song with my producer for the first time from beginning to end. It's called Was It Just Me? And I really enjoyed kind of the new experience of writing a song from start to finish with somebody else, and especially him because we've worked together for such a long time. So that was a really fun experience. Ceci the Fangirl says, current book or series you have read and would you recommend it? I am currently in the third book of the Ember and the Ashes series called A Reaper at the Gates, and I would recommend it. I feel like it started out really strong. It's kind of been losing me just a little bit, but I'm still really enjoying it. So I'd be curious if you've read it. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about it. Cursebreaker Lexi says, what is the most heartbreaking lyric you've ever heard or written? Well, I'm currently working on the song that has the lyric, I wish I knew why you stopped loving me, which feels pretty gut-wrenching. _C._U._ says, which one of your songs would you show and play to your 14-year-old self if you were able to go back in time? I mean, I guess I would say Monster or Warrior, since those are my most viewed lyric video and my most streamed song, to just be like, look, like, you did it. But I know this sounds kind of silly, but I think 14-year-old me would have really dug my music. It's kind of the exact type of stuff that I would listen to with definitely the right amount of angst. Like, I think if I was not me and 14-year-old me had listened to this music, she would have been into it. Yvonne Bolson says, do you have any tattoos? I do. I have on my wrist, I've got the semicolon for the mental health campaign, the Deathly Hallows symbol, and the angelic rune from the Mortal Instruments. And then on my back right shoulder, I've got a grand piano with a stack of books sitting underneath it. I can probably find a picture, and if I do, I'll put it right there. And I'm thinking of getting a third one, but I'm still kind of deciding if I even want to, and if I do, what it would be. Now let's go over to Instagram stories. Glorious Bibliophilia says, last song you were obsessed with. There is a song called Scarlet by Holly Humberstone that I have just had on repeat for a while. Love her music and love that song, so you should definitely check it out. Carly Girl 621 says, what is your favorite song not based off of a book, movie, or TV show? One that I am very partial to is With You. We just really enjoyed the recording process for that song and how it turned out. It's just got a cool vibe to it. And then Storm Chaser is one of my favorite songs lyrically. I was really happy with how that turned out and the production side of that one too. So those are two that I'm pretty partial to. Jesse Anderson XO says, do you accept novels from fans? I do. I actually have a whole little spot on my shelf for books that people have sent me. I can't ever guarantee how quickly I'm going to be able to get to them to read them because I have an astronomical to read list, but I am always so flattered when people want to share their work with me. I think it's such an accomplishment when people put out a book. As somebody who has written a book and still trying to figure out what to do with it, like I'm so impressed with people that have gone through the entire process, and I am just I'm happy to have people share their amazing creative achievements with me. So if anyone ever wants to send me their book, I would love to have a copy. Ruby12420K says, are you trying a new musical style? One of your newest songs sounds different. It's really interesting as an artist because you want to stay consistent with your sound, because otherwise people will be like, why did you change your style? I liked your old style better. But then if you do too much of the same thing, people are like, well, this sounds like every other thing she puts out. So it's a really hard line to walk. And so what I love to play around with is different production things. I want my songs to all feel cohesive and definitely like they're me, but not sound like each other all the time. So it's a very conscientious decision, but it's a difficult thing to do. So to answer that question, I'm not like consciously changing my style. I'm just always trying new things and playing around with my music and sound because I have the flexibility to be able to do that. Ex-Con Wombat says, what songs or projects are you most excited to release? I have several coming up that I am super amped about. My May release, I shot a music video for and have a lyric video that's very meaningful to me, so I hope that you guys will like this song. It is definitely one of the most personal ones that I've put out in a while, so it's important to me, and I hope that you guys will like it. Raphael Vega 30 says, what's your biggest inspiration? Honestly, I would say you guys. Like, the amazing and kind comments that you leave me and like messages that you send me are so inspiring and definitely remind me why I love doing this in the first place. And last but certainly not least, let's go to YouTube. Lucy D says, would you ever consider doing re-recorded versions of some of your older songs such as Girl Like Me, My Forgiveness, and Where You Are? This is how I know that you've been with me for a long time, because those are pretty old songs. So first of all, thank you for going on this ride with me for so many years. I'm not totally opposed to the idea of going back and revisiting some old songs that never got the studio treatment. I feel like if I were to do it, I'd want to do it as kind of a larger project where it's like an entire EP of like vintage, you know, vintage Beth. So if that's something that you would want me to do, let me know in the comments. Amber Tudor says, what kind of books do you like and what is your favorite one? I mean, favorite books are always gonna be Harry Potter. I kind of go in between enjoying like more dystopian type stuff, fantasy, contemporary. It just kind of depends. I feel like I go through phases of each where I'll, you know, listen to or read a bunch of the same type, and then I kind of move on to the next one. I mean, it's all YA. I'm actually curious because it's been such a long time since I've read anything really other than YA. I got the first book in the Bridgerton series because I really do love the show on Netflix. So I'm gonna dip my toe into some, historical romance? Just romance? Historical fiction? See, I don't even know other genres other than YA. Marina Schwank says, would you ever consider going on tour? I would love to. It's a lot of work trying to put together a tour, and you guys are so spread out everywhere that what I need to do is get better about doing some like live stream shows. But I do hope one day I'll get a chance to play some shows and meet some of your lovely faces in person. Crazy Cookie says, how old were you when you started writing music, and what made you decide that you wanted to pursue music? I really started writing music in earnest when I was like 14, where it was actually a structured song. I'm sure I wrote some like stupid little ditties here and there before that, but 14, 15-ish is when I started actually writing songs for the first time. And honestly, I didn't really have plans to pursue music. I only moved into doing music full-time in 2019. I think before that I just kept thinking like, well, this is like a side thing, or eventually this is gonna go away, and it just kept building momentum. So I finally got to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I guess I do music for a living now. I think the deciding factor was I just needed more time. Even having kind of a part-time job, I just still needed more time to be able to make all of the music and do all the projects that I wanted. And so I knew that like at that point it had gotten to be a sustainable thing, and I could pay bills with it and finance my music projects with it, and that was like, that stability, I think, is what really led me to make the decision to do it full time. Hannah Huntley says, how do you choose books to write about? Also, do you have any book recommendations? As far as book recommendations, I would say just go through all of my book-based songs, and I would recommend the books and series that they're based on, and usually kind of anything else by that author. And as far as choosing which books to write songs about, a lot of that comes from you guys. If I see that there's something that a bunch of you guys are requesting, then I will be thinking more about that as I'm reading it. Or just sometimes if a book really captures me and I feel like I can do a cool song that's not similar to the ideas that I've done for songs before, then that'll be one that I try and write a song about. Michelle Matthias says, what is your process when it comes to songwriting? Do you start with the lyrics first, melody first, or a mixture? How long does it usually take you to finish writing and recording a song? Usually I'll have a little lyric snippet with a melody, and then I just kind of build it from there. And then from the time that I start writing to finishing, it totally depends on the song. I've had songs that I've worked on for like literally over a year. I've had some that I've written in a couple days. So it really just kind of depends on my mindset and the song and how soon I have studio dates where I need to record something. Kristen Courtwright says, are you going to be making more animated music videos? I really liked I Didn't Ask for This. Me too. Erlance Art is so freaking talented, and I was just like so blown away by that video and how amazing it is, and I'm actually really excited because I believe we're going to be collaborating, and I'm going to be writing a song for her web series. So I'm really looking forward to tackling that project because she was a joy to work with, and she is just fantastic at what she does. So I'm really looking forward to having another video in that type of style before the end of the year. Shooting Stars says, what do you hope to accomplish in the future? I just hope to be able to do this as long as possible, and when it's not feasible anymore, I hope that I'm still doing something creative, that I'm still writing, whether it's writing books or writing a musical or writing for other music artists. Like, I just hope that I'm still writing music. And that feels like a good place to leave off for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this Q&A. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!